I'm Sam McCulloch. I'm 32 years young and I work for the Paraquat Association. Well, as well as the mild autism, I have anxiety and depression.
I'm Peter Rasmussen, I'm 31 and I'm a primary school teacher and Sam's stepbrother.
Yeah. So
I'm Sam, pleased to meet you.
Well, our families were friends before we ended up becoming stepbrothers. So I sort of just would go around to his house and things like that, and remember playing PlayStation with his brother and computer games and things like that. And then when we were a bit older and living together and sort of going through high school and things like that, I remember we were living underneath the house in the rumpus room type setup, and I think that suited us being away from with the rest of the family upstairs.
I somehow always knew I was different from the others, but I didn't even know about the actual autism thing until I was about 12, maybe 13.
Yeah.
But somehow I always knew I was different from the others.
Yeah, that's right. It was interesting because as kids, we'd known each other from such a young age that Sam was always just Sam, and we were told that he had autism later, probably at about the same time that Sam was. But he was just always who he was to us, really.
Yeah, there was therapy now and then.
Yeah.
I used to go to speech therapy when I was very young. I just remember Mum taking me to speech therapy as I was told I didn't learn to talk until I was 4. Well, I've had a bit of a diverse group of friends. We weren't exactly a part of any. We weren't really one of those stereotypical types of people.
In terms of your autism, do you feel as though people ever judged you differently because of that?
All the time.
Yeah.
But they always saw me as their friend, and that's all I needed. I do often worry about what people think.
It's always a challenging conversation to have with other students when things come up, because everyone who's at the primary school, at a high school, or wherever is trying to find their way in the world, and there are plenty of times where you have to have conversations with people and explain that someone has autism, and perhaps not everyone would agree with that. So, that's might be a private conversation to have with parents or something like that. But at the end of the day, there are lots of people who have autism, and so there's no reason why it should be kept quiet or anything like that. We're all different. Can you talk a little bit about how you remember feeling when you had your Year 12 exams?
Oh God.
Which are not fun for anyone, by the way.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I struggled like most people would, but but somehow I came out of it all okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my subjects in grade 11 was Australian history, and that was one of my many struggles. So they had to pull me out of the exam and put me on the neighbouring syllabus.
So sometimes I wonder when I'm teaching different students, perhaps with autism or other additional needs and things that are different about them, and that student may be struggling with something, maybe it be finding people to play with in the yard, or whether it be a concept in maths or something like that. What would you say to the student with autism, maybe yourself, at that time, to help them get through and understand that it will be alright?
That is a good question. To be honest, I never really thought about that, but if I could go back in time and talk to my younger self, I'd tell him that it's all good and not to worry so much.
Yeah.
And it'll get easier in time.
Yeah.
Because school's tough for anyone. It's like that coming of age.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, one of the most powerful things or powerful ways that students can show their understanding is by explaining it to another student. And that only comes when you've got people with different levels of ability in your classroom. Yeah, we need to include everybody, no matter what their size, shape, colour, whatever it is.
Yeah. Do you feel like you did worry too much when you were at school?
Oh yes, I still do now. Well, being someone with autism, I should know all about it, but I just find it hard to put everything in words. Well, things like interacting, that's a big one.
If I was talking to you about two kids at school,
Yep.
and one of them was bullying another kid with autism, if you had the chance, what would you say either to them or about that situation?
I'd say they were pretty gutless. I mean, it's like kicking a man while he's down. It was never okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't okay before, it's not okay now. I have a very caring nature about me.
So you're very approachable?
Yeah. People consider me one of the nicest guys around.
Cool.
But, well, naturally, when I was back in school, I was always anxious about the future, and I was very scared of what might be and what will happen. So I wasn't like many of the other teenagers who worked at Macca's or takeaway places. I would never see myself in one of those.
Yeah.
But as an adult, I've done a few data entry jobs, and then I worked in a couple of mailrooms, and after a few years of unemployment, I'm now at PQ. I'm a warehouse assistant. I pick and pack orders for customers. We have trays for all orders, whether they're going north or south, or picking them up, and I just look at an invoice that I go to where they're located. I put them on the desk to be checked, and then I pack them ready to go.
As his stepbrother, have all just been thrilled when he reaches his mini milestones, like when he got his first job and when he finished school, and we all had massive smiles on our faces when we learned that Sam had got his forklift licence, just because we're like any family member, just proud to celebrate any achievement with him.
Well, it was a 2-day course. The first side of it was theory and all the so they organised for me to go to on-road off-road training for 2 days to get the training, and the practical side was one of the hardest things I had to do. Everyone I worked with was always supportive.
Why? So you mentioned that perfect is nothing but an idea. Can you explain that?
Well, everyone strives for perfection. So the thing is, there's no such thing as perfect.
Yeah.
And what we need to realise is that we're only human.
Yeah.
We all need different minds to work together. Whereas one single answer is never the answer, because we all come from different slices of life.
That's right, we do. Well, if everyone was the same, we say this in the classroom, if everyone was the same, it'd be pretty boring.
Yeah, totally.
And there's no reason why that should be different in the rest of the world.
Yeah. What we need is balance. Pretty much balance in all things, because too much of one thing is not necessarily good.
Tell us, Sam, about your love for heavy metal music.
Yes. I just love how it sounds and the energy it gives, and one of the things I love about it is that it helps me deal with things.
Is it therapeutic?
Yes.
Yeah. So how does it make you feel when you're listening to it?
Just whenever I'm having a down moment and and I'll put some metal music on, it helps to drain the bad feelings out. And after a while, I feel fine. But I don't mind going to the odd concert now and then.
Yeah.
When you go to a concert, it's like a whole different kind of energy. It's like you're just there.
And that is therapeutic in itself to you as well, being at a concert.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess that's the thing about autism. You know, some people would struggle in that sort of environment, and then someone like Sam thrives in that environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's a concert, there are crowds naturally, and I don't really deal well with crowds, but in that particular setting, I'm okay. Many years ago, I never would have imagined myself going to a concert.
Yeah.
But then one day, about a decade ago, there was a band coming down to Tas, Queens of the Stone Age. They're called, and they're the first concert I went to, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, I find it really interesting that that you said about how music can help calm you down or help you when you're having a bad day.
Well, metal isn't the only thing to calm some people down. Like that, there are different genres of music that just cater for different people.
Yeah. Lend a hand to Hugo being associated with the North Hobart Cricket Club. That's part of me as well. So it was a really nice match, I suppose. But also, that's the sort of environment where you're spending a lot of time with your mates, you know, in the field for. You don't want to be in the field for too long because you want to bowl the team out as quick as you can, but and you can deliver those messages where you talk about these things. Like it's a good reason to be talking about it. Sometimes, you know, there are things that get ignored. People perhaps feel like it's too hard a conversation to have, but when it's in that environment with your mates, that's a really valid way to bring it up and to discuss it.
Yeah, I remember playing with you a couple of times. You had the sticker on your bat and you pointed to it.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about, I guess, why you felt the need to do that?
Yeah, well, pointing to the sticker on the bat, playing cricket, I suppose it's a part of me as a person, being in the same family as Sam and being a member of the cricket club, that those things are important. So if I touch the sticker and then someone else asks a question on the boundary line, why is he doing that? Then we can be talking about autism, and I think that's probably a good thing. If people are like with lots of things in life that are becoming more open and socially acceptable to discuss, if people are talking about it freely and naturally and genuinely, then it's a good thing. Things that get ignored or not discussed or swept under the carpet, they're problems that don't solve themselves.
Just like everyone else.